Right, good afternoon. Bit of a stressful day, got to look at the camera. Just want to talk about why I'm going on, what's her name again, Candid with Lubna. But it seems to be kind of Dawa with Lubna at the moment because various people are coming on trying to spread their religion, and I oppose that. I don't like people spreading their religion. Now, I actually found it quite funny. It's like there was someone called Perfect Dawa saying that Saudi Arabia isn't following Islam. So I then turned around and said, oh, fancy a trip to Saudi Arabia? You know, I'm sure they'll find your comments just that you just piss around a bit, that you I'm sure they'll have a healthy discussion with you, maybe chop your head off or something like that. I mean, executions in Saudi Arabia are common, and they will execute you for something called apostasy. I've got a friend who fled Saudi Arabia because she was going to be accused of apostasy. So we give asylum for things like that. Now, but the problem with the religion is that you can renounce your religion to an enemy. So I don't really want to talk about it. So I said to Perfect Dara, if you want to debate someone on the channel, I'll nominate Bob the Builder. Well, that's Bob the Builder of all people. Now, I have no desire to read the Quran. I've read bits of it. It says stuff I don't agree with, and I don't agree with his claim. Because there are apparently multiple copies of the Quran. So that's dealt with. So I will basically be polite to Lubna and say, look, I will refer you to the answer I put on my own video. I don't really want to talk about Islam. I don't believe it's true. I don't want to be disrespectful. There are some accounts that Aisha was only 16 when she married Prophet Muhammad. Okay, go ahead. But yes, then Bob. Bob basically preaches Roman Catholicism. He denies he does, but the reality is he does actually preach Roman Catholicism. Roman Catholicism basically took over the Roman Empire from around 400 when Constantine, or Teen, I can't remember, basically installed it as an official religion. And as Bob corrected me on, it was another emperor who made it the official religion. Now, on my study course, that was when the persecuted became the persecutor, and he ended up with the Catholic Church. So this is why to this day people are a bit suspicious of what actually Christianity is. It's not a religion, it is a faith. And my problem with Bob is that he's turned it into a religion, muscular Christianity, stuff like that. So, there's a big problem there. It's actually, I'm going to make a separate video about it, about, why I believe the Bible is true. But again, it's a personal choice. And to all of the atheists, humanists, liberals out there, knowing that this faith is actually not going to impose itself on you is probably base one. Because I'm like a lot of people, I don't want someone telling me what to do. When I lived in the Middle East for 3 years, basically, it was like kind of, you knew the rules. Now, luckily, my first job, I had a fantastic principal, Siobhan Doran. She was brilliant, absolutely brilliant principal. And I said to her, sorry about that, I said to her on the last day, I said, can I tell classes about the Holocaust? This was in Kuwait. And this was December 2004. And I did a presentation. I actually, prepared a whole thing. And I said, look, this happened. Apparently it's an American conspiracy. I got all this stuff. And the anti-Semitism I was getting my way. I was thinking, my word, I'm quite glad I'm getting a flight tomorrow. But she told us the rules in her school. She was able to... she just basically said, look, there are some things you can talk about, there are some things you can't. I respect people who believe the Quran, but I would say that we've got a free internet-ish. You can go and read critique of it, because the Bible also says quite clearly that you should be able to give a defense of what you believe in. And for the Bobites, who are clearly watching the channel, Galatians 1 and 2 says, if you add or subtract from the gospel of grace, then you be accursed. I mean, I can see Bob's concern about Islam and then some, which is why I say Bob could easily do the job. I mean, he would destroy, what's his name? And then, of course, there's always someone who's lived in the Middle East. Well, the person I talked to in the Middle East, I won't say which country, when I asked him, did he ever regret his decision? Boy, oh boy, did his face tell the story. He was like, I've got some new friends, but And, I respect what this guy is spouting, but what he's spouting is dawah. He's going, oh, yes, we treat women okay, we do not. And apart from the ones who get caught in adultery, they don't end up too well in Ahok province in Indonesia. They get flogged. The thing is that I'm stereotyping. Most of the Westerners who basically convert to Islam in the Middle East are a bunch of Billy No-Mates. And basically, when you join Islam, you get a whole load of new friends, you get taken out to dinner, but you have to pray 5 times a day. I've got a bit of a problem with that one. I always had some healthy discussions. What do? Do you go to at this time of year? 4 o'clock in the morning? Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, I don't believe in a God that would want me to do that kind of stuff. I've got some sleep issues at the moment, it's not so great. I'm really sort of up for, once in the high summer, I try and keep my light pollution out. I certainly do not want to be getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Sorry, alas. If you want to give me some punishment in the next life. And by the way, that's my other big problem with Islam. You see, the Bible is quite clear that basically what the punishment for sin is. But that's going to be on another video. So yes, I'll just say, look, I don't believe Islam is true. I don't want to get into any arguments, but I will say Taqiyya, Taqiyya, Taqiyya. Now that's the word they don't like you to hear. In Islam, you are allowed to lie to the enemy. And by the way, they consider anyone in this country a potential enemy, because if you're not a Muslim, this is not a Muslim country, on my very clear understanding, 99.9%, they're allowed to lie to you. And if you ever see this video, that's something you could basically sort out. Now, again, the problem with Bobism is he's not preaching the gospel, he's preaching we are a Christian nation. Now, the way to wake up Middle England is not to go around saying, we are a Christian nation. It's to basically say, look, you can believe what you like in Britain, and you have pretty much been able to do that since the time of Elizabeth I-ish. She instituted an institution which is now way past its sell-by date called the Anglican Church. So that's why my very, very clear position is that, yes, I believe in the Bible, but the Bible does not say anything about building nations. So I am someone who does not want to impose my will on you, and neither does Jesus Christ. He just gives you an invitation. If you want to take it, good. If you don't want to take it, it's your choice. So I want to try and sort of neutralize the to and fro, but if there is Taqiyya going on, Taqiyya, 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 then you need to look up what Taqiyya means. You have a good evening.